Hey y'all, it's your girl Millie Chun. Let's get into Carlos's Monday night talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's go. So when it started, Carlos was giving like a disclaimer about the show because he doesn't want to really focus in on Porsha and how everybody has been talking about Porsha. So he did focus in on what I thought was the best scene between Porsha and Cynthia. I absolutely love that scene. Cynthia is definitely a friend. She is doing her job as a friend to the show. And Porsha needed that. And like he said, he doesn't know if Porsha wanted to talk to Cynthia. People felt like maybe she should have talked to Shamia. But talking to Cynthia in that moment was the best thing to bring us back to what Housewives really is. And I absolutely love that scene. And I thought he was spot on about that. So then we get to the whiskey tasting event, right? And Cynthia, Angela, Brit, and Drew. And people were talking about how Cynthia is a flip-flopper and Kenya didn't want to speak on her relationship with Cynthia at that one time live that she did. And with Kenya, it's smoke and mirrors, so that could just be something to throw out there for people not to like Cynthia so much. But Cynthia is doing her job as a friend to the show. The way she consoled Porsha, the way she can sit back and say, we love Kenya, but also you wouldn't expect to come in here and see a picture of you like this. So this girl is feeling this. And if the twirlers could slow down for a minute, you would feel a certain way too if Kenya put your explicit photos up. And you probably would still love her afterwards, but you definitely would feel a certain way. And I really hate that we're still talking about that situation with Brit and Kenya. But what I will say is I feel bad for Brit and I feel bad for Kenya. Brit was embarrassed and Kenya lost her job and we lost what could have really been a great season, because I would have loved to have seen how Kenya would have handled Porsha at that dinner table, and also Angela. Is that someone that Kenya would have really been close with? That would have been great, because I could see Kenya going on the the whiskey tasting. That would have been very interesting. Then I have to speak to what Claudia said. Had Brit not said what she said, maybe Kenya would not have done what she did, and then we would have Kenya on the show. And then when she talked about Cynthia, she was like, yeah, Cynthia is, understanding what Brit is saying, but she can understand why Kenya could be upset. And like I said, that still could be smoke and mirrors that Kenya is talking about. But at the same time, she was like, even though Kenya messed up, she still wants someone in her corner. Now, I don't think Cynthia is not in her corner, or she would not be in her corner. But I can see how Kenya could feel a certain way because, number one, Cynthia is working on the show. And number two, she's in these scenes with Brit and she's empathizing with her. Because what Cynthia said is a true statement. Nobody would want that to happen. Put yourself in Brit's shoes. You may not want to, but that's what you got to do. Because we got to move forward. We can't keep talking about this. And I really hope next week is not the same. And then Dustin, he's like, clear this up for me. Like, how was she just all of a sudden just friends with Brit? And Claudia was like, because that's what we see. But that's not what's happening. You saw in a moment Cynthia having empathy for her. But you do understand what Claudia said also. Kenya could feel a certain way because she's sitting home watching her friend of 10 years have empathy for someone on a show that she is no longer on. And that's all that was. I don't think Cynthia is trying to be friends with Brit. I just think she was in a scene, right? But other people may see different. Let's keep going. Now on to the Brit of it all. I went up for Brit, Edie. I like Brit. I think she's a beautiful woman. But at this moment, these three got it right. Claudia says she doesn't have the emotional intelligence to do all the things that Dustin said, not be a victim and hold on to the trauma of what happened at the spa and try to be friends with the ladies and move on instead of taking every second, every camera moment to rehash that and try to understand why these women were going up for their friend that they've known longer than you. And like Carlos said, who are you, Brit? Where are you? What is going on with you and Mike and the baby? Did your mother move in? What's going on with you and your sister? Did you get the car? You looked at a car and you left the car. Like, what was the point of going to the car? Like the example Carlos gave. He said he saw Kim Zolciak zero it out for $65,000, the Cadillac from Big Papa. You had a scene where you standing behind the car talking about Angela. What is going on with you, Brit? Like, there is no personal story. And all we have is the spa situation. And all people talk about is you just milking it and being a victim of it. You're going to have to move on in this housewife situation. And Andy Cohen likes when the girls can pick it up and move it on. You can't do that, baby. It's going to be you that's going to move on. Babe, when I tell you Claudia don't see it for Brit Edie, she was like, you're not a girl's girl. And the way you lit up when they were coming for Angela, that's the only time you are bonding with the girls. Basically, she said her claim to fame is a botched BBL, botched veneers, a botched nose job, and a botched personality. Claudia is not having it. Y'all, please go to the 1 hour mark. It's worth it just to listen to Claudia and her take. Because, like me, Claudia says she bets that Brit won't be back next season. She was like, it's been 16 seasons and you came in here like you're that girl. And you are a surface level housewife at best, right? And she also said, we lost Kenya for this. I felt that. Because I feel like Kenya would take this. Kenya and Porsha and Angela would take this, along with Cynthia, would take this season where it needs to be. It would have been a really good season. Brit is doing too much. Now we're on to Angela. Carlos calls her the rookie. We feel like she's the MVP, right? Claudia says she has the emotional intelligence not to jump on things and to just think about it and come back. And Dustin says she's very witty. We love her, right? Carlos also let us know that they've been trying to get her since season 3, up until when he left in season 9. And I'm so glad they didn't get her around season 5, because she would have been all in the mix and this season would have been just that, right? But we got her when we needed her with 2 more new people. So now we're seeing who's really housewife material. And she is definitely it. And it's a plus that Charles Oakley is along for the ride, because their scenes are fantastic. Now on to what we're really tired of listening about, and that's Porsha, Drew, and Dennis. I personally don't think anything is wrong with Drew and Dennis working together. What else was Drew going to talk about? We do not care about Ralph downstairs. And she was not going to talk to us about that divorce. So what else was she going to talk about? And then Porsha needs to be concerned about her next place where she's going to film. Like, Simon took everything away from her, and that's what she's really upset about, as Claudia stated. She's not having the season that she thought she would have. You need to figure out, you got a divorce to worry about. You got a whole husband that you're trying to divorce while you sit up here trying to keep tabs on Dennis, right? You trying to find locations to film in because you cannot film in the house. I never known, like, co-parenting, this has a lot to do with it. Yes, you and Dennis are going to be together forever because of PJ. But his job has nothing to do with him co-parenting with you. You're just not having the season that you thought you would have, and you're mad about it. And it doesn't look good on you, and I agree with Claudia and other people. You look like a friend to the show. Claudia is on one, right? You can't be mad at Dennis and Drew for filming together, making music, when you out here at the pool, just because you weren't being filmed for the show, but it's on the show that you want to have bounce house sessions with Angela's husband. I like the Porsha that was on Watch What Happens Live. That's who I go up for. This mean girl situation and this, it's just Porsha, it's the Henny talking. That's not cool. Like my girl from Married at First Sight, Carla, said, that's dirty, dude. Like, grimy. Like, that is horrible, Porsha. That was a bad look. Carlos comes to Porsha's defense, and he says that there's nothing fun going on in Porsha's life, so we're not able to see the fun Porsha. I do agree with that, and I agree with what Dustin has said. But saying that you want to sleep with somebody else's husband and blaming it on the Henny, that's not cool. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this. It's your girl, Millie Chan. I'll talk to you later. Bye.